So I just got the quote. It's one thing after another for 18 years.
I know.
Keep putting money in it.
How much would it have cost if we would have replaced it in the beginning?
And I would like to weld the door shut. Honestly, I don't know, it came by the city through a grant.
I was gonna say it came with a grant originally.
Oh.
That was
Okay.
before Nino, but it was like
We paid
80,000.
it.
Yeah, pay for it,
But-
see.
They're expensive. I mean, we've talked about it numerous times. I don't know what the answer is. Every time you turn around, there's an issue with it. It's
Yeah, that one
nonstop.
seems to be cursed more than any other elevator.
Felt bad for those gals that came and needed to use it when the community room ribbon cutting.
We carry them.
One thing it'll do, one thing that it'll do that, with the fact that the elevator isn't really accessible generally, is it does limit it somewhat, to folks that are, that have a difficulty with steps, or folks that are older, probably hesitant to, pick the room for their meeting, because there's a lot of steps, and if the elevator's not working, it's inconsistent, and that does limit it a little bit.
Okay. Just checking.
We'll have a special ribbon cutting when we get it fixed for you,
Thank you.
Jim.
I know it's been our thing for 18
It
years,
is.
the elevator,
But
so.
we're working on it.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And the last item on the agenda, 19130, bids, sale, removal of home at 347 North Pennington Street. Mayor?
So I sent council copies of my recommendations. It's up to the council as to whether or not you agree with these or would like to do something different from these. I also established some time limits, or date limits, I guess probably is a better word, just so that we're all on the same page of when things are gonna happen, or when we decide that it's back in our hands. Skip and I talked today, Skip Barron, who's here with Suzanne, and his question was, if they don't have a need for the foundation and the brick under the ground, could they simply push it at the bottom and cover it with dirt? And I told him, I'm not sure what the normal course is for demolitions in the city, what we require, and I think we should follow the same thing that we normally do. And I tracked down Dan, what we generally require with the demolition is that all of it is removed, and then it's backfilled with dirt and compacted. And
What kind of basement's in there now? Is it-
I think it's a mix between brick and block, or block or stone.
Oh,
There's
okay.
some crawl space area as
Oh, so the whole house doesn't have a basement under it?
well. Correct.
Now, this is what we discussed before, just one second here. I mean, there's two ways to do it. We discussed bidding it out through a process or having it transferred for $1, and we talked about that, but it'd be the same requirements, I would imagine. So we all talked about, because we've never, I don't think since I've been on council, not bid something out, because it still gives the opportunity, for Suzanne's group or the entity to bid on it, but other people could bid on it, and whoever bids on it, they're gonna remove it, they're gonna save it, right? So I don't know if there's anybody else that's gonna bid on it, but that gives an opportunity, it may give them a benefit that, we're trying to raise the money, maybe there's another group that already has the money that will come in and move it to another location and restore it, so to speak. So I don't know.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, as long as the house is saved and we get the lot, it's a win-win. But my question is actually about the restoring of the lot. I thought the schools were taking care of that. Why is it now the person that buys the responsibility?
Well, it doesn't have to be, that's the question for the council. The schools have agreed to demo the lot and the house, but those are still our tax dollars being paid through the schools versus us. So if the council wants the school to restore the lot, the council can make that decision, or if the school wants the person who's being given the house for a nominal fee to do it.
Do you have any discussions with the school there? I don't know.
Well, if we save them money, I don't think they'll object to it.
Of course, I guess you're kinda right. Well, I guess the other question is the trade that we're doing with the lot on, off of Woodland, and is the value still equal? I guess that's really the only question that we.
Well, our whole purpose was just the lot for the expansion of the parking lot.
Right.
And we maintain that here. whether we had to demo the house and the school pay for that, at the end of the day, we were just gonna have the lot in a restored fashion.
Gotcha. So when you say restored, it's just gonna be like grass, something where
Correct.
dirt would be.
Yeah, because EPA will require that we seed it
Oh.
and maintain it until the time that we then dig it back up. In fact, that was frustrating for me up on the North Court project, that we had to plant the grass knowing we were gonna put rock there, but we weren't allowed to just leave the dirt there.
But it grew really fast.
It did.
It was like a little-
Fastest growing grass I ever had.
Yeah.
Right.
It was green and everything.
It was. I was looking for that kind of grass.
That was the best grass ever.
I have a question.
Yes, Bill.
Okay, this might be clear to everybody but me, I'm not sure, but.
It's right here.
We're bidding, so there's a bid,
Come on in.
if you want to get this house for $1, I guess, or whatever, we're bidding on the house. Is the house $1, or is it, are we,
No, but,
Highest bidder.
okay, so we're going with the highest bidder.
but with the stipulation that the house has to be moved.
I got that part, it was just the bidding part, it wasn't clear to me. So we
But
are
it'd probably still be $1.
Yeah, so we are actually, so if 3 people come in and say, I want to move the house for $1,
Well, I don't think, if you've got 3 people that's interested, I think it would be the highest bidder.
yeah, $2.
But, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
But I think for the law director and the mayor, I think it would, and for us, it would prevent a possibility of.
No, I'm okay with it. I'm just, the process of the
I think
the
they're still
price
gonna
is
get
so
it.
low, it's kind of seems like, it's not like people are coming to bid on something and, I'm buying this for $50,000, and somebody went to 60, I'm not going that high.
Yeah.
But, so it's not like an auction, but it's $1 or $2 or whatever,
No, you don't set the price, you just
Yeah.
open the bid to the highest bidder.
Somebody come in and say, we want it for $10,000.
yeah.
Well, the only reason that would change is if somebody bought it who's in the business of moving houses, they
Yeah,
could bid a little higher.
they could come in and say,
The
yeah.
the rules say it has to stay in Medina, correct? Is that what we're saying here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's the proposal.
Yeah, because there's 7 items that are required that everybody would have to follow.
Right.
Right,
So that's why, it's obvious that Suzanne's and Skip's group will most likely be the ones that obtain it.
Right. And I do, after, discussing it, like I said, I think it's prudent for us at least to do that for open bid, because we've always been held to a standard, because this is taxpayers' dollars, that no matter if it's schools or us, it's gonna still be us. We've never really given anything away unless it was to the schools, another public entity. Never a private organization that I recall. I'm trying to rack my brain to see if we've ever done it, and I can't come up with anything that I've been in council that we've ever given somebody property. And this always usually goes to the person most interested when we do this anyways, as far as bidding it out. Because this is definitely a unique situation where there's gonna be a limited number of people, if any, except for one, that'll bid on it. But it does protect council from any other kind of taxpayer claims that we did something that other taxpayers didn't think we should do. Suzanne, you have comments back there, I see.
Oh, yes. Do you want me to step up there?
Well, sure, if you want
Or
to,
just
we can hear you in whatever way, there's microphones all over.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I just have a few comments on the, I request that if you do put this up for public bid, that you do put parameters on the bid and make it very specific, like the conditions upon the sale and removal, like you said, within the city of Medina. And I would also suggest that within the city, that they also make it a rehabilitation of the house, so no demolition, like don't take it apart, but, rehab it and make it a single-family home, like a home ownership home, so that it's not like a rental property, that you are like giving it away to a private business, because we want what's the best for Medina, right? And we really would like to improve the areas around the square. And while I'm a landlord, okay, I have rental homes, and it would be great to have another income property. The whole point of this was to, to build the house back to its original condition and have someone invested in living within the city of Medina. And renters don't tend to be invested in where they're living. And also, I would really encourage you not to include the language about restoring the lot, because We were just told that the walls do have to come down from the foundation, and that's expensive. And it's really, it's within the Bowman Lane land swap with the schools. And they're already saving the money from the demolition. Really, you know, we're taking the house, or whoever it is gonna be buying this house, you know, taking it off your property and saving that demolition cost. And this is gonna be quite a financial investment, and you have to fill that hole too and restore the lot. For one, I don't understand why you have to fill the basement, like take the walls down if you're gonna be making it, you know, parking lot. But why do you have to plant grass seed and all that if you're gonna pave it? You know, like, well, how pretty do we have
That's
to
an
make it look? And plus it should be,
EPA requirement.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's an EPA
requires that.
requirement.
Okay, well, and I see that I know that there's a safety requirement, you have to fill the hole, you can't leave it open and all of that, and plus it's an eyesore. I understand all that. It's just, I don't think that anyone who purchases this home should be responsible for it. It's the school's responsibility. It was their end of the Bowman Lane transfer. I mean, they got the Bowman Lane house, you know, it's a very, so, I really respectfully urge you to do that, so.
Now, let me ask you a question, because you mentioned about the cost of the basement. So you must have had quotes or researched it. What is the cost to fill in the basement?
To fill in the basement, I did not get a quote for that because the price, I won't bid on it if that's a condition. I won't do that. So I'll be out of the bidding because the money that I'm going to be investing in moving the house to the lots we're looking at, buying the lot, moving the house, you know, moving the power lines, which they have to have 10 feet of clearance in order to get under the power lines. There's not many power lines where we're hoping to move it to, but it's a high power line. It's gonna have to be moved. There are trees that need to be cut down in the back of the house. Then there's insurance on the, you know, there's all these things that are obvious. We have to build a foundation or a basement where we're taking it. You know, I would suggest that someone the schools could take the fill that's taken out for the foundation of the new property. They could come and get that and put it in the hole. Like, that would be kind of one for the other, would fill it, right? And that would make sense, and that would also kind of help the purchaser of the house, they'll have to pay to move that dirt anyway out of there, so it would be kind of nice of you to do that. I mean, that's my suggestion. But no, I didn't get a quote for that because I was already pretty blown away by all the totals once we were looking at moving the house in 2 sections, and it's a Greek revival, you have to cut it in half, you can't dismantle it, and
Okay.
it's a lot.
Okay. Questions? You look like you had a question.
Well, I think she has a good point, especially if we use the dirt from the house where it's going. I think that would save the school money as well, if they don't have to purchase it from anywhere to fill the holes.
How do you get the dirt over there?
Well, you need a truck still, but you still have to buy dirt.
Do you have a truck?
You know.
I'm not traverse that one.
Take the back seat out.
I'm not sure the cost. Dan might have a better idea, but it's not a very big hole.
Well, Dan, have you been involved in that in your experience as the building official, talking to people? What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, to fill that hole would be maybe $3,000, $4,000. We just had the house on West Smith Road, demo, including filling in the basement and reseeding. The total cost was $8,800.
Well, for a demo, fill in and reseed.
Foundation, fill in the hole and then stabilizing it with grass seed.
I got you. So what does everybody thought?
I think we leave it like it is.
Leave it as is? Anybody else have any?
I can't say anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's right, you can't say anything. Bob?
I'm gonna build it, it looks good the way it is.
Well,
Your
that's true.
suggestions?
Well, I'd hate to see Susan and the organization back out of it. I would suggest to see how the school feels about the cost of filling in the hole.
You can't talk to Jim.
I'm just saying, I'm
Look at
leaning.
me, just look at me.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards see if the school would be willing to do that. And I understand it's tax dollars, no matter, but they were willing to pay for the total demolition of the house in the swap. And if they're not, I would have to lean towards leaving this as it is. But I really would hate to see this organization lose the ability to, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but isn't it written into the ordinance for the Bowman Lane swap? I tried to find it and I couldn't before work.
Well, there was a
Like
timeline
before.
on that too, I believe.
I mean,
And
within
Mr.
that,
Shields can't
doesn't
speak
it
to
say
that.
demolition of the house if it can't be moved by, you know?
No, I don't think that,
I
I mean,
think
I
it
could be
is. I
wrong.
have it
The,
before, I couldn't find it.
the original agreement was the swap of the land and they were gonna demolish
Right, and
that was
so
the agreement.
Destroy the lot.
That was
Right,
the
that's what we're
agreement,
gonna do.
but then it was, the schools had already gave us the property when you came to us and said, can you hold off and give me time to see if I can move the house?
Yeah, but that didn't relinquish their responsibility for filling in the hole, like demolishing the house and filling the
Well,
hole.
and like I said, I don't know the answer to that, so.
What Councilman Simpson is talking about is checking with the school to make sure that they're on board with that. which
Right,
makes
that's all I want,
perfect
yeah.
sense. In order to move forward, you really should check with the school officials
Right.
to make sure that that's okay,
Yes,
and not assume that,
correct.
okay?
And I'm in favor of what you're saying. I would hope that the school would be willing to do that. But I think we need to find that out from the schools. And that's my opinion.
Leave it as is and check with the schools.
To be honest, I mean, there's probably only gonna be one person bidding on this, and that's Skip and Suzanne back there, and as they keep finding out this is expensive, and we keep adding costs to it, I think we can do both. We can have the lot and we can move the house and save it at the same time. So I'm in favor of removing that they have to fill the hole, since we already had the schools say so, they would cover that part. And then we have both. Because if they can't afford it, if they can't do this, we keep adding costs to them, then we're just gonna have to demolish the house. That's the next step, if no one else buying it.
Well, the logical solution, what I'm hearing is that just, let's ask the schools about it, because they're gonna demolish it, see if they're willing to participate. And if the answer is yes, then we have the answer. If the answer is no, then we have, we know what direction we have to go. But I think Mr. Huber's right, we just ask the question. And find out what is said, and then I would assume Mr. Huber's gonna be drafting the rest of the, or is it Pat, who's doing the bid spec?
I think Pat's
And just, be clear, we got 7 good items, but the last item says whatever else the law director wants to add in there, whatever that, I don't know what that is, but I get it. You want to be able to save the house, so, and Suzanne's correct, you don't want somebody to move it just to tear it down.
Right.
Or whatever, they're gonna, but I don't know why they would move it to tear it down, that doesn't make sense either.
That'd be really amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to do that, but, so why don't we do that, and we'll approve this with the requirement, or somebody, it is Huber or Mayor, just to ask the schools, in the original, just to ask the question.
We can ask the schools if we make it subject to the law director's approval. If
Yeah,
the schools
okay.
agree, the council, just so I understand, the council's preference is if the schools agree to restore the lot once the house is moved, which would be removing the basement and the
Filling the
vertical
dirt.
block and refilling it. That's the preference of the council. If the school is not interested in that, then we're back to where we are.
Yes, correct.
Right.
That's what I hear, yes.
Okay.
That is correct. Is that everybody's understanding?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a,
And the only thing I wanted to add, Mayor, the school board does meet tomorrow night, so if
We can find out tomorrow.
If there could be some conversation tomorrow with the school.
that's good. Well, as soon as we're,
Warren or John Burkhardt.
I would start with John.
Okay.
And talk to the board tomorrow night, they'll at least be together tomorrow night for a meeting. Otherwise, they don't meet again until August 4th.
Right. And that's what, just for everybody else, John and I have talked about this a little bit. My hope is to get this process going to meet these timelines while you're on break.
Sure.
If we wait for y'all to come back, then,
well, it's good that the school's meeting tomorrow, because we can answer.
yes.
So we should have an answer. That'd be good, so let's move forward.
So I move to move forward with the proposal with the law director's approval, including the emergency clause.
And that includes checking with the schools.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
And I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstention?
Aye.
Motion carried.
John, so
All right.
I'm clear, you're moving to bid the property, right?
That's correct. With the emergency clause, subject to mayor checking with the schools if they'll pay for it, and if they say yes, then that's part of it. If they say no, then we got to go back to the original.
Because this is on the council.
And it's on the council down tonight, right?
So you have to,
Well, it's subject to the law director's approval also,
we
correct?
have to add that to it.
Yes.
Skip's doing it.
Yes, Skip?
I don't know if it's too late, but are you gonna add the concept of, which I appreciate all the stuff that you're including in this, trust me, the concept of making sure that it's owner occupied and not flipped and make it into a.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I don't even know if we could put a restriction on that, because we're not gonna own the property. I don't think we have
I was gonna
the
say, I don't
ability.
think, you know, if you bid this property, I think that whoever the high bidder is, you lose the right to tell them what to do. High bidder
Right.
gets the property, and I don't think legally you can direct what they do with the
I
property.
know, unless it's on your property that you own. I mean, that's the only way we could do it as a city. We could put restrictions on our own property, but we can't put restrictions on somebody else's property, how they're gonna own that asset.
So that means they could tear it down if they buy it, is that what you're saying, Mr. Weaver?
Well, if they win the bid and they took the property off our property, they probably could dismantle it.
But I guess I don't know of any sense that would make for anybody to
Move
do
it, I
that.
mean, move it and then turn it down.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen.
Well,
People you need.
I don't know who'd wanna do that. Why would you pay to do
well,
that?
they may take pieces of it to use it. I mean, if you're getting it for $1, you can take parts of it and reassemble it somewhere.
Well, there's no
There are
value of it, because
uses for it.
the insides aren't, I mean, I don't know if there's any
Well,
value to
if you
it.
had a historic view of it, you may think differently because of the way that it's built and how well it's preserved inside. The mortise and tenon, I mean, they're not built like that anymore, and that is a really wonderful example of that building at the time, and it should be documented at the very least. And I think that someone could even take the wing and use that as, at their, like, farm or whatever.
Well, I get-
But they'd have to move it.
Well, they have to move it.
You
But
could
they'd have to
disassemble
pay to
that
move
wing
it
and
off the
take it
property.
yourself. Yeah.
Well, they have to
take it
remove it
yourself.
from the whole property, so there's an additional cost, even if they took a
expense.
wing, they would still have to do the rest of the
Yeah,
stuff. It's not-
I just think it's unlikely anybody would pay what you'd have to pay to move it, and you'd have to move it somewhere, I guess, unless you left it on a trailer, just so you could dismantle it. I don't know.
Or take
It
pieces
seems
of
like
it.
a,
Well, okay, fine.
of course, once
I-
we sell it, they could
that's
probably
fine.
do
Whatever they want.
whatever they want once they own it. I don't know, how would you restrict that?
You can't, that's what we're talking about.
I would say that they would dismantle it where it is, not move it
And why
somewhere.
would they buy it? I understand.
Well, I don't know why they would buy it then. I mean, if you just unless it's like Barnyard Builders, you go, I'll watch that on TV. You take down the old barn and rebuild it. I mean, that's something that people do. But that's a lot of work. I don't think anybody would really do that. But
They've already done the houses here in California.
Yeah, they did it to the house in Victorian Village, they took
Yeah.
it down and shipped it on semis, and it's worth
But this,
like.
but this requirement says it has to be back in the city, so that was.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it was moved though, it was dismantled
Mhm.
and taken apart, but it was put back together.
Gotcha.
But this house, it seems like if you're gonna,
If it has to be in the city, there's no sense of doing that.
Right, that would be.
can you dismantle, under what we just passed, could you not move it whole? Then you could dismantle it
And
on
rebuild it,
site
and
and then
rebuild
go
it.
set it up.
Well, like again, if somebody like let's call it the Barnyard Builders come and wanna buy it and rebuild it, that may be fine, because then it would be exactly the same, and it would be all originally reconstructed, as they do it, but I don't,
I'm not arguing it, I'm
I
just,
don't know,
it's just,
that's it.
but even if you dismantled it and put it back together, that'd be fine.
well, yeah, you have the same property, you have the same, it might even be better, because they'll probably there's structural issues with it, they'll fix them with the house when they redo it.
That's why you're an attorney.
All right, we appreciate it. Who? Oh, welcome. Do you have anything you want to add to finance before we adjourn? Oh, okay. Nothing else from council? Okay, meeting adjourned.